Hello, listeners. In this episode, I'm going over my top yaoi boys love manga for the month of March 2021. This is the list of yaoi manga, manhwa, and webtoon that I think are the best stories to try for the month of March. Be sure to watch all the way through to get my full analysis on each of the series. I'll go over the summary, news, and why you should read it. Before we get started though, I just want to remind our viewers that if you like seeing more yaoi content and would like to support this channel, please don't forget to smash that like button. Also, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Feel free to message me in my social media, ZEALED FUJOSHI, which I'll be using to interact with viewers about more yaoi content. If that's something that interests you, feel free to follow me at ZEALED FUJOSHI. Finally, this video will contain a lot of explicit content. With that in mind, please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the first series in my top list, which is Kashikomarimashita Destiny. This is a series written by Sachimo, which is a very... If you haven't seen any of Sachimo's work, it's all pretty good. But this one, the Destiny series, is a really good series to start off and being a fan of Sachimo. So this story is one of the best stories out there for any Omegaverse fans. All the characters are just too good. And it's quite an angsty love story between two people with soul bonds. Jirou is an alpha and Aoi is an omega. Jirou is the heir of his family, so he must one day marry an alpha. Aoi was disinherited by his stepmother because he is an omega, and their family is an all alpha kind of family. And so he cannot be the heir of the Toujou family, which he was born from. Jirou refused to acknowledge the bond that he has with Aoi and the destiny that forced them together, until Jirou's heart played a part in this whole thing. As much as I love the whole Jirou and Aoi love story, I always think that soulmate, soul bond, and the likes in paranormal romance and or Omegaverses in general is a bit of a convenience factor. It's kind of like cheating, right? Because you know they're gonna end up together because they are soulmates, right? But even still, I really love this series, but not as much as I love the secondary couple, which is the butler side story of Kudou and Mia. A typical Omegaverse story, but the delivery is actually quite good. The pacing is quite inconsistent though. Jirou and Aoi's story feels a little bit too fast, while the butler story of Kudou and Mia feels like it's a little bit stretched too long. Also, another reason why I really love this series is the smut scenes are pretty hot. Hot, but not too overwhelming hot, and it complements the story well. It doesn't serve as a basic filler just so that, you can get off on it. It really fits in well to the storytelling of this series. Overall, the art is beautiful, the pairings are lovely, and the plot tries to deal with the negative implication that comes with the typical alpha, beta, omega dynamics. And I've seen stories that deal with it better than this manga does, but I still think that Sachimo did a great job in my opinion. But the one thing that I don't like about this series is I kind of feel like the main couple deserved more time. But other than that, I highly recommend this series. Now, the second on my list is called Kekkon shite kudasai, which I think means marry me in English. And this is written by Tsurugi Ichirou. I started out thinking, that I was going to hate this manga so much because the plot seems so, Yawnsville, but man, I was so freaking wrong. I am satisfied as F. The thing is, make sure you come into this story with a very open mind and expect absolutely nothing. Maybe I had such low expectations coming into this, but the wackiness and the soap opera plot twist out of nowhere and the mystery craziness didn't even put a damper on my mood. I think Tsurugi had this wonderful, messed up, hilarious ideas and tried to mesh it all in one book, and it actually doesn't end well, but somehow it kind of works. It probably would have been best for her to stick with one plot device and run with it. We have, this boy trying to do his job, getting a client married, but at the same time dealing with baby daddy drama over there. It's insane. It's wacky and dramatic at the same time. So that I would make sense in this commentary, I'm gonna give a little bit of a summary, which is the main character here is named Kairi, and Kairi is again an Omega. And he's kind of like this newbie at work as a marriage consultant. And boy, is he basically still in training. But he has landed a position thanks to a plot device where he's consulting this rich alpha named JINGUUJI on how to find him a wife. Not that he needs it because it's freaking good looking. And also JINGUUJI doesn't seem to be interested and is only being dragged into this whole marriage counseling by his family. And when Kairi finally finds a possible candidate for him, JINGUUJI ends up getting that girl or that candidate married to someone else. There's this hilarious scene where Kairi and JINGUUJI help the candidate find the courage to talk to a policeman she secretly loves. And in the end, Kairi was like, wait a minute here. Isn't that girl supposed to be for you, JINGUUJI? The dramatic parts are freaking dramatic. And when it's funny, it is freaking funny. When it wants to be serious, oh baby, it's freaking serious. And don't get me started with the cute parts because frick, they are freaking cute. But there are so many themes at work in this series, and again, Tsurugi, please just pick one, not three. It's freaking insane how many plot devices is in this series. Anyways, I didn't think I would like this series at all when I was reading the first chapter, but if you just stick with it till the very end, it's fantastic. The beginning seems odd and rushed, but once you get to the whole story, go back to the very beginning because it reads a whole lot better. Yes, multiple plot devices meshed in one story. So freaking wrong, but it's just so horribly good. It's so good in a weird way, and strangely enough, I can read this story so many times. Going to our third item in this list is Karaide Isasete, which translates to Let Me Hate You by Hijiki. And this is the third Omegaverse in this list for this month. And I just wanted to say that I only read this wholesome Omegaverse because my heart is so full and it's flourishing because it's so freaking cute. I love how consent plays a big role in the couple story because it's something that's not often found in yaoi manga. The only thing I did not like was the extra chapter because it goes against their beautiful relationship that they built in the main story. But Karaide Isasete tells the story of Koga Naoto, who is an Omega, a single parent. When he was a teenager, Naoto was raped by an alpha classmate and later gave birth to his very beautiful daughter Shizuku. He is traumatized by his experience and has avoided meeting with an alpha ever since. However, his mother is worried about his future and wants to make sure that he is safe and looked after. So she encourages him to attend a matchmaking party. Though he doesn't meet anyone attending the party, he does meet a waiter named Hazuki. Naoto and Hazuki's relationship may be the end goal of the manga, but the story itself is more about Naoto's past trauma, as well as Hazuki's real interest in Naoto, and the care he takes in trying to pursue a potential romantic relationship with Naoto. The theme of real love and family are strong in this manga, and I love the portrayal of healthy relationships. If you've read yaoi, you know that sometimes things happen and those things aren't always good. This particular series is one that I felt that's actually well built and expanded upon those ideas, making a story that felt really genuine. The characters are very well written. I wish this manga was longer, and I cannot believe this was very short. The plot with this piece was written so well that I want more. If you like reading this kinds of story, which is an Omegaverse plus newfound family with healthy relationship, this series is just pure fluff. This is the story for you. Now, for the fourth item in this list is Koishite Baby by Miyako Mimeko. So this one is a very quick read of a series, and again, this is another Omegaverse story that I highly recommend. In this story, the main character's name is Kiyo, and he is an Omega who works up as a pole dancer in a member-only club dedicated to alphas only. And Kiyo has one dream. And his dream is to be the bride of his middle school friend named Chi. But according to Kiyo, Chi only thinks of him like a little brother. And Kiyo, despite being an Omega, is this tall, well-built, muscly Omega. And because of his non-feminine features, Kiyo suffers from a complexity from how he looks. While the person that Kiyo loves, which is Chi, is an alpha. But unlike other alpha, Chi is kind of perfect to Kiyo in his own sense because he's quite short. He's not the shortest, but since Kiyo is big, it makes it look like Chi is short. And despite having better working opportunities, because remember, Chi is an alpha, he works as a waiter in the place where Kiyo does his pole dancing. He chose to work at the same place as Kiyo's, and it kind of starts the question that is it really only brotherly love like Kiyo thinks it is, or is it something else for Chi? So the setting is nothing new, but trust me when I say this, that this series, it is a super short, but it's so freaking cute to read. Chi and Kiyo is such a nice and cute couple. That's why I highly recommend you to read Koishite Baby. Now to the last item in this list is going to be Unmei no Sugai ga Omae da Nante. I know I butchered that, but I think this series translates to English as I can't believe you're my fated partner. And this series is written by Haruto. So this is another Omegaverse story, and the main gist of this is never anger an otaku. Anyway, this series was quite good. I enjoyed the couple's dynamic. It's really chaotic if the first time you read it, but it's chaotic in its own comedic way. Dude is desperate to get married and bumps into his co-worker who holds a grudge against him because of something he did in high school. But one day they're walking home the same way, and then he gets his first hit, and this and that happens, and they ended up having sex. Honestly, I didn't think I'd enjoyed this series so much. I should have known, since it's enemies to fuck buddies to lovers. So it's a classic enemies to lovers with absolutely amazing art and smut. Had the cliches, but it didn't feel like it was boring throughout the story. It had felt that it was a little uneven in their affections for each other, as in the uke and the seme. I mean, the uke likes the seme more. But the last few chapters and extra chapters really made up for that discrepancy. And I kinda hope that this series gets a spin-off. Anyway, this series though is very decent. No forced stuff in this one So that's a real plus for me. But other than that, it's kind of cliche, but the smut was the play of the game for the series. I really wish that there is a sequel where this couple is already bonded, and I want to see their marriage and hopefully some babies. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you got some good information on what to read next. Remember to read the summary of each series before investing time to read, because my recommendation might not be your cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed today's episode though. Please don't forget to follow my social media to be teased about some of the boys' love that I'm interested in. Feel free to leave me a message and converse with me in my new Discord channel. I'd love to hear back from you. And please consider supporting this show by donating as little as 99 cents through www.zealedfujoshi.xyz. Also, don't forget to support the author. All the manhwa details can be found in the description below. Again, thank you so much and hope to see you next time.